Okay, here we are back again, and Emil and I have kind of taken a sabbatical. He needed it, so did I. And in the interim, what I've done, I bought a 1960 Studebaker SILVERHAWK, or a Hawk. And the car's in real good shape. It came out of Maryland, and I've got all the paperwork and all that on it. The old guy that owned it, he bought it in 1960 and drove it 180 some thousand miles because he took documentation of everything he did. When he bought gas, when he greased it, I mean, this guy was fanatical. He's kept all the maintenance records on it, and I've heard of it, but I've never seen anything like it until I got this papers, and I'll show you in a minute about it. But these things are really neat. I didn't realize it, but the Studebaker from sometime in the 50s, they built this body style, and if you look on there on the internet and see them, in I think it was 59 or 60, they put this tail on it and changed the whole looks of the car. And I was really impressed with it. I remember seeing them as a kid, but you always got the negative things about Studebakers, and these things were really neat cars. Just the looks of them. When this thing gets done, I'll show you. This is the motor over here, the engine. I pulled it out because it had 180 some thousand miles on it. And with no exaggeration, there was grease this deep on this thing. And I pressure washed it, and I need to redo it again. I'm eventually going to rebuild it and probably put it back in the Studebaker. But these things were 289s, not the Ford 289, nothing like it, because this had a 60-degree block where most engines have got a 90-degree block. So this was really ahead of the game. Small, quick, fast. These cars were incredible. I didn't know that much about them. I've got an Avante just because of the looks of it. No other reason. I always wanted one. I didn't study much on them because an Avante's an Avante. But if you go and start looking on YouTube at all the things about these cars, the Hawks, they had a Golden Hawk in the late 50s. It was supercharged. I forget how many horsepower it had, but a lot of them were painted black, and they had gold painted in, and they really were way ahead of their time on a lot of things. I'll raise this thing up and show you some stuff in here. But what I've been doing for the last 2 months, and I'm still not finished, because this guy had it undercoated like a tank, and I've been underneath the car scraping the undercoating off, and I've got all down the middle scraped, under the hood, fender well, and I'm just about to finish this fender well. Then I'll go back and do the back ones, and I'll be done. And it's really, it's been hectic. My tools were, I used a screwdriver, a wire brush, that's got a scraper on it, and that's got a big scraper, but under the fenders, you can't use the big one, you have to use the little one. And that's the stuff that came out of the, there. And I mean, it's piles of it just fall out all under the hood. So it was a challenge, but I just about beat it. And I swore 3 cars ago that I would never go under another car again and do this. I did it to the other 3 cars, so I did it to this one too. I'm not good on my word. I just couldn't stand the way it looked underneath. And there's no way to describe to you the way it looked. But I'm going to raise this thing up and let Emil take pictures under here. I painted it, I scraped it down. I painted all this black just to keep it from rusting, and what I didn't paint, I sprayed the rust proofing on it, and it lasted a little while, but I'm gonna raises up. Let me get around here. Okay, we're going to go under the car, and I'm going to show you what it looks like under here. You see how I scraped all the way down, and how the runs here, that's the anti-rust stuff. But I've got the center, I've kind of half painted this, but I want to do something else. I don't like the way it looks, and I've got this all de-rusted. You can feel it, and it's all with a wire brush. And back here, you can feel the difference. But I've been asked by everybody that come, what is this? Well, it's a heater. They run water hoses back here to this. There's an inlet, whichever one it is, and an outlet, and it goes under the passenger seat and blows out on the floor. Kind of unique. But another unusual thing they got is, I've got it over here, but let me think where it went. It went, I think it was right here. It looked like a brake master cylinder, but it was very small. So I called to order one, and the lady told me, that's not a brake master cylinder, it's on the other side, the real master cylinder. What this is for is if you're on a hill and some way you mash the clutch in and the brake, it engages and stops you from rolling back.
Hill hold.
Yeah, hill hold. Yeah.
From the 60s.
From the 50s.
Wow,
they
that's
had it
amazing.
then. And Studebakers, I know this from the Avante. Can you see this mill?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, this is the way their steering works. It's like a old wagon from Wagon Train, and it goes here and it pivots here. It don't have a deal here that runs across and pulls both wheels. Each one works itself. Kind of unique. It's kind of hard to explain without knowing. And the trunnions, they're completely different. They use them forever. And what else do they have different? But the rear end, it's the brakes are all drum, and the car, but you can see where I still got a little bit to clean up. Something that nobody will see except me, but I just couldn't stand it.
Yeah, you do that to all your cars. Careful, you're gonna hit your head on that differential.
It won't hurt.
No.
No. But, so that's where I'm at on this right now, and I don't know if, well, I'm going to put, I've got a Chevy engine out here, and another car that runs perfect, and I'm going to pull it out with a brand new automatic transmission and put it in here and run the Chevy engine in until I decide what I'm going to do with that engine over there.
Right. And this is that car you're fabricating out here, right?
Yes.